Okay, I'm back at it. I found my jet. I just, these things are so small I didn't want to waste an hour. You know, my eyes are terrible. I didn't want to waste an hour looking for it. So, found my jet. I did look and see what size the jet was. The jet's a 48. Get that sucker back in there. Get my orifice driver back out. Properly seat that guy. Okay. Okay, very careful with our jets because they've got the little, you know, little thin slot in it. Okay, now this is one of the more we need to be real careful putting this in. This is the core plug that goes into the bottom of this. It's convex. It's shaped like a little dome. You put the little guy in there. You make sure it's seated perfectly all the way down in there. Sometimes they don't want to go in. This one just happens to go in perfectly. Then we'll take a roll pin punch that's close to the diameter of the core plug. So tap very lightly. Once this thing flattens out, domed when it starts out, once it flattens out, it gets bigger and fills this whole surface. Okay, we got that in there. Now, back to our float, needle, and seat. Drop that guy in there. And put the pin in. Okay, you can see how our float is. It's set a little bit too early. So what I'm going to do is I pick up on it, get a little tweak. Still don't like it, pick it up, tweak again. Okay, that's about what I like right there. As you can see, it's still set to where it's going to go off early. It's going to close a little bit early, but not too much. You got a gauge that you can use for these, but I always just do it by eye. You can see it slopes up a little bit that way, not too much, just a very, very little bit. And that's the way we're going to do that. I know you guys at home don't have the gauge either, so I'll just show you how I eyeball it. Okay. Put our bowl gasket there. We'll get, here's our bowl drain screw. Got a new gasket for it. It's just a little felt gasket. Put it back in. Very carefully, just a little bit snug. Threads in there, very ginger, and they will be destroyed very easily. Okay. Double check before you put your bowl on. Make sure that all your guts are in there, because you get this thing back on the motor and then you realize, oh, there's a piece. It's supposed to be inside there. You're going to have a bad time. Right. Now.
I think the gate's already unlocked. Okay, thanks.
I'm going to get all my screws into place here. Make sure I got the right ones. Okay, this one. Because some of these are different. It's that. Okay, they all are. As with any carburetor screw or any screw, we're going to turn it backwards. We're going to turn it counterclockwise, and then we're going to start seating it counterclockwise, and then start seating it. And we're just going to get all these to where they make contact. Once they make contact,
Trying to get this moved. Any day that's convenient for your guy except for Friday.
Except for Friday.
Yeah. Just call us. We don't mind it. I'm trying to be.
No.
Yeah. Just call us.
All these have made contact. We're going to go by our torque pattern that's on here. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're only going at about 30 inch-pounds here, which is like a 3-finger torque. You also want to make sure that your gasket is not unnaturally being forced out of there. If you're pushing the gasket out, you can see this gasket right here. If you can see that it is being pushed outward, you are torquing way too much. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, our bowl is on there. Now, one good thing with this particular carburetor is you can test your float and see if it shuts off or not. So we can blow through there because the float's down. Turn it upside down, the float will be in the up position where it should be shut off. Can't blow in it. So flow, no flow. Okay, good. Now we've got that a little portion right there of the top of the carburetor in the idle section that matches right up to our to our gasket. So it's going to make this pretty simple. It's only going to go on there one way. We'll get this guy on here. Get our screws dropped in. And as always, we go backwards and then make contact. Counterclockwise, clockwise to contact. Counterclockwise, clockwise to contact. Sorry, number 4. Counterclockwise. 4, and then this is 5. And 6. And now we're going to go ahead and do our torque. After you make contact, torque is only going to be about a quarter turn. 16th to a quarter turn. 16th, 8th quarter, somewhere around there. No more than a quarter. 3, 4, 5, and... Oh, I did that backwards. I did 5 and 6 backwards. So we'll loosen 6, we'll do 5 first. 5, and then 6. It's because my eyes are going. Okay. We got our other fiber gasket washer for our plug that goes in the end. Okay, got that in there. Now we're going to seat, but not firmly, our idle screw. I'm just going to, as soon as it touches bottom, that's it, we're done. No further than that. They're not going to tighten it up or anything. So that's about it. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 2 3/4. Okay. Now we're going to reattach our cam roller. That's what opens our butterfly here. That guy on there. Our O-ring snaps onto there. And that's it. That is our 96 Johnson Evinrude model 15 horsepower carburetor rebuild. when I go to put it together, we'll start this up again. I'll show you putting it on. Putting this one on is real easy though. This one's got the, you know, the pull assembly. The recoil starter goes on the top, so it doesn't interfere with putting this one on. One thing I will tell you when you do put this on though, when you get your air box on there, get your screws started with your air box on there. Force your air box tightly against the carburetor and then tighten these screws. You'll notice the air box has elongated, like football shaped screw holes in it, and that's so that you can get this thing into place and you'll have room to play with it and push it up against there. You want to, the importance behind that is because that air box is not a it's not only a helps with noise, but it's also an air restrictor, and it keeps too much air from going down the throat of this carburetor. You can lean a motor out if you run without an air box. If you have a 50 horsepower, a 60 horsepower, a 40 horsepower, 70 horsepower, and you run that motor without your air box, and you know, you might be fine up until you get to 3/4 of throttle. But once you get in a wide open throttle with that motor will take in too much air, it will lean the motor out, and it will blow the motor up. I've had it happen, and I've had it happen while I'm operating the boat, so I'm guilty of it. It's not a joke. Always make sure your gaskets are intact, from the carburetor to the airbox. The airbox gasket itself, make sure that's intact, and make sure it's a good seal on there, because that's extremely important. You know, a lot of people think it's an air filter or whatever. It's not like a car. It's not a car. There's no sand floating around. There's no dust floating around out in the water out there. If there's dust out there, it's in the water by now. That is an air silencer, and it's an air restrictor. So it's very important that all those parts are intact and it's secured firmly. Okay, that's it. Again, Nick Hudson here, Gulf Marine of Clearwater, Florida, 727-442-5175. If you have any questions, like to pick my brain about, or if you need to order any parts or anything like that, give us a call. Our parts department's always ready to take your money. So thank you, and have a good day.